Hello,
Tell
hello.
me more.
Welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. We tend to start a podcast with laughing because typically we're having some kind of technical dickies. And
Mhm.
because it's a Monday and it's Monday, it is Mondaying hard today.
It is Mondaying hard. Yeah, it definitely is. So, welcome to Monday. It is a holiday here in the U.S. So happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day to all of you.
Yes, yes.
And I'm Laura. I am the owner of ODAA, Other Duties as Assigned. So we are here to help you out in your business to assign those duties you don't like to do, and get those done behind the scenes so your business can grow.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what ODA does.
Yeah.
And
And I'm Angelique with Lady Power Solutions, and we do kind of the same stuff, but
yeah,
instead of competing or, kind of uh, not working together, seeing each other as competition or a threat. Um, Very early on, uh, we connected. Um, I recently found the LinkedIn message that Laura sent me after she stalked me for a while online. We we were in this same group on Facebook, and it was a business coaching group for women, and
mhm.
we were talking about being highly sensitive people.
Yeah,
Um, and
learning
so
what that really meant at this point, in our
and how to
journeys.
cope with it.
Yeah,
And so something brilliant came out of my mouth that connected with her. I don't remember what it was. I just am so grateful. I am so grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you too, because you never
Yeah.
quite know what clicked. I have no idea to this day. I can't remember yesterday, but I definitely it was something where I was like, "Oh, I want to talk to her," and then for me, it goes in one ear and out the other, and I hate that that happens. I tell people all the time, I would love to quote you because I know you said something profound, but I have no idea what it was. I'm sorry.
Well, okay. Well,
Welcome to
this is
menopause.
why we record these, because so that we can go back and go, what was that brilliant thing that our guest said or that we said, right? That's why I love
Yeah,
podcasting. I freaking love it.
I love it.
And
I love it.
that's why we started the podcast. Is Laura knew that I
Mhm.
was like crazy pants for podcasts, and she was an avid listener as well. And we kind of came up with this idea out. It birthed out of as many things do, a necessity. Like there was this gap, and we were looking for something, so we created it. I think
Yeah,
we created it. At least we're
I
starting
think.
to. We're starting to create
Yeah.
that sisterhood, that community, that sacred
Mhm.
space for female entrepreneurs to come and be vulnerable and model what it looks like. And that's what we try to do, is just model what it looks like when we collaborate and lift
Yeah.
each other up. So, without further ado,
It's, we want to bring our guest on today. We have an amazing guest, and we're excited to have her here. It's Amira
if
Irfan.
yes,
Irfan. Okay. Whew, I'm sorry. I knew I was going to try this. And she is an internationally renowned business lawyer, blogger, and coach behind a self guru, an online company helping over 100,000 entrepreneurs legally protect their businesses through affordable legal templates and services. She is the author of 23 Legal Mistakes to Avoid as an Entrepreneur, and her work has been featured in over 200 media outlets such as Ticker News, Yahoo Finance, International Business Times, Business Digest Magazine, Authority Magazine, Thrive Global, US Times Now, and many more. And so we are so glad to have you here. That's a lot. I didn't realize that at first. I was like, oh yeah, we're going there. So
yeah, we got a fancy
congratulations on
guest today. We got a fan. And so, Amira, one thing we
that.
forgot to ask you
Yeah.
was, where are you in the world right?
Yeah, I'm in Florida right now.
Where?
I'm in close to Pensacola.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. I'm just north of Tampa.
Oh, how cool! I
Yeah.
used to work in Tampa,
Okay.
so very familiar with that area and
Yeah.
Sarasota. It was one of my favorite places.
I have yet to go to Sarasota, but we're planning a girls' brunch to
Yeah,
go there.
you should. Sarasota is not that far from Tampa. I used to
Mm.
commute, so yeah. I
And
think
Laura's
it's
in
well.
Oklahoma, and you've got snow, right?
We're in a freeze. We had snow last week. It's gone. But now it's just the sun's out bright and it's freaking freezing. It's the most weird feeling in the world because I'm like, it should be nice out and it is frozen. It's frozen. So welcome to the
Awesome.
frozen world.
Yes, welcome to the frozen tundra. My kids and grandkids are in Missouri, so they're experiencing some of that as well. And my oldest granddaughter loves the cold, loves snow, so she's thrilled. She's absolutely thrilled. But today we are not here to talk about weather. We are here to talk about vulnerability. I've forgotten the title. I've got to pull it up because it was a really good one. How vulnerability and transparency lead to success. So and that is because Amira gave us this fabulous story that I absolutely love. And it's a story of her favorite story of resilience and vulnerability that had inspired her.
Yeah.
And we ask this question. It doesn't have to be a person's own story. It can be someone else's that kind of bolstered them, right? But your story is very vulnerable, and I love it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I should ask this. We should move this question to the very beginning of the intake form because it's always that's where we get the juicy stuff. So take it away, girlfriend.
Sure. So first, so a little bit about me. I'm a business lawyer and entrepreneur over at aselfgrew.com. And it was my second year of running a business. I had put in my blood, sweat, and tears building this business for an entire year while working full-time as a lawyer during the day and nights and weekends into actually building a successful business. So I thought I did great because my first year, I made six figures. So it was great. Like I'd launched a very successful legal bundle templates for business owners and entrepreneurs like you, me, everybody basically who has an online business. They need legal templates like privacy policies, disclosures, transactions. Right. So I did that and it was a very successful legal bundle. But one thing that happened, which I never expected, was that accidentally I was trying to make a change into my platform that I use, Katra. And I ended up clicking on something, and it must have been just the madness of the New Year's Eve and just lots of chaotic stuff going on. And I was running a sale and all of that. So anyway, by mistake, I ended up clicking this one button and it just deleted my entire product. And when I say my entire product that I literally took a year and a half to build, market, make it successful and everything, it just wiped off. And the unfortunate thing was that there was no undo. It was like, till this day, I don't know why the Katra doesn't have that capability. I went through like from here to
undo button every day.
There was nothing. And this was a product that I had actually paid somebody to create funnel for me. I had spent time emails, automations, like when you create a product and you make it like actual sales funnel, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes, from market research to creating emails that connect with your audience to graphics and just everything. So anyway, lost everything.
And there's a huge sale on this product right now.
Yes, it was New Year's Eve. So it was the busiest time and my sales page is broken. So I am getting inundated with emails from customers, potential customers wanting to buy. And they're like, well, 5 minutes ago, I saw the sales page and now I can't even access. So how can I buy this? And I was just like devastated. So at least the template part was done, right? Because those were Word documents that I had actually written as a lawyer. So that I knew I had it, but then just how to get those sales and how to actually put it online was just gone. So again, I was the only one to blame for this. And this was my only source of revenue at the time. And I didn't have a backup, nothing besides just the templates on my computer that I had written myself. That was it. That's all I had. I didn't have anything else. I was devastated, but I even had travel plans. So I was like, I canceled everything. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, and then it's New Year's Eve time. So it's not that I could instantly find someone to replicate or hire someone or anything. So it was just me, myself, and I. And I just like literally I remember 72 hours, just I'm not kidding. I just literally put my head down. I was crying. I just went through all the emotions that you can.
Right. Yeah.
And then after I was done feeling sad for myself, I said, you know what? It's okay. Everything happens for a reason. It's not the first time that I've faced a difficult situation in my life. My dad has faced a lawsuit, which shaped my destiny. So if this has happened, there's got to be a silver lining. And I'm the kind of person that just always looks at glass half full. Like, what can I learn from my failures or mistakes, whatever you want to call them? I call them lessons. And I always think that there's got to be something that I just had that faith in myself. So I sent an email to everybody on my list, took full responsibility for my mistake. And the potential customers, I tried to set up like a PayPal link. Again, just whatever I could do to at least be able to still sell in the best possible way I could. And just, try to make people understand that, hey, this just give me a few days. And then within 72 hours, just out of my own head, I created something totally different, almost like a 2.0 version. And I said, you know what? I don't know how this idea just came out of this dark, crazy phase that, why don't we make it like a VIP bundle with different tiers instead? Before we just had one bundle, but now we have like 3 tiers. And then I just like executed it. And today that has become a 7-figure business that has literally scaled. It scaled faster than the first one. And it just is a better version, to be honest. Because again, I recreated everything, right? So
Right.
I was the creator. So it was all in me, but just the sheer amount of work and stress and devastation I went through. But the most important thing to remember is that this second product is more successful than the first one. So in the end, it was all worth it. Sometimes you just have to go through the hardship.
Yeah. And that process, out of that process came something even better. And isn't that often the case when we are faced with some type of devastation that feels devastating? It feels hard, so hard, like we'll never come out of this. And then I think you said something that was pivotal. After I got done kind of feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
So you gave yourself a little bit of time to go, oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh my God, what have I done? This is awful. But you didn't stay there.
Yeah.
Right? I think those are key. Like, you allowed yourself to feel the feelings, like you got your feelings, but you didn't stay there and be like, it's all for naught now. Just forget it. You didn't give up, basically.
Oh yeah. And trust me, I had thoughts. I was like, maybe
she's like, I had thoughts.
Maybe this is a sign that I'm not supposed to be in business. I was still working full-time as a lawyer at the time. I hadn't quit my job yet. So I was like, maybe this is the universe telling me to continue my job because it's easier. And this is so much harder. Entrepreneurship is a very tough thing. And I'm like, my job is tough, but not as tough as this. And it doesn't demand that many hours. And I don't, after a certain period of time, I could shut off. But here it's like nonstop. And so, yes, I did have those fears. I did have that thought of giving up. But at the end of the day, I just I don't know, something inside of me, again, that faith in me. And it just made me realize that, what can I learn? What is God or what is was trying to also show me besides the negative thing?
Yeah.
And
I think that's a good point too. Like, when we face that resistance, is it a redirection or is it, this isn't you? We had another guest on recently, Tammy Green, and she came with her whole heart.
Yeah.
And because she had gone through a year of building her business baby and then got to a place where she didn't feel aligned anymore and had to set it aside. And it isn't like she buried it. It's just not right now. But, you come to that crossroad, that like, okay, that fork in the road where you have to make some kind of decision and say, okay, is this the universe telling me this is not the way to go? You need to go a different direction. I think the universe was saying, you have more.
Yes.
The only way to get it out of you is to take it all away and start from scratch.
Yeah.
Um, and that wasn't any
Yeah.
fun.
No.
It
But
can
it
be
ended up
decipher
being
that too.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And now
Yeah.
it's. I mean, it's so. I'm so grateful for that, and just so grateful for this. I feel like if that didn't happen, I would have never been able to offer my customers something even more spectacular, right? Like that VIP bundle is like my most popular bundle now. It just, people always tell me like, I love it. You offer so much for such an affordable price, and they don't know that where it came from, right? Like how it all just originated. So to kind of just come back and see that if I had given up, then I wouldn't be able to make that impact. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to help those people. So that to me is like that fuel that keeps me going, you know?
And Laura, what you said about that discernment, how to discern, like, what is it? Is it redirection, or is it, hey, you need to just press pause, take a break, or is it, so what do you feel like was that for you? Like, how did you know, no, I'm going to push through this, um, instead of giving up? What?
Yeah. So for me, Angelique, the thing is, I'm not a quitter. I have faced a lot of hardships in my life, from childhood to watching my dad lose his business to a lawsuit, and then kind of starting all over again. Of course, that was very inspiring for me, but also very devastating for us as a family. We lost a lot of money, we lost a lot of time, we lost income, everything. So to me, like, and then even like in college and other hardships and everything, I just have gone through so much in my life, that I know better, I guess, that when I just have a very high sense of like intuition as well. So I meditate a lot. So then that's one of the things I did. I did spend a lot of alone time with myself, a few minutes at that time. And it just like the inner voice is what I've learned to listen to. And again, it goes back to this principle of not quitting, like, because it's a lot easier to just say, okay, I'm going to quit, because things are hard. But it's the ones that don't quit and keep going and face the adversity and learn and come out as winners are the ones that really make that impact. And like I said, I've had many examples in my life to fall back on, and that's what was going through my head at that moment. That if I quit, what would be my legacy? What would I remember this experience as? Or do I keep going and try my luck? I know it's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be starting all over again, but what else can I create? How can I make even a bigger impact?
Yeah.
So
I love that you included that. Like, you're like, okay, wait, let me just sit here in a minute. Let me sit in it.
yeah,
Let me sit in this uncomfortable feeling of loss and grief and devastation and what the fuck now. um and so for you, and I know everybody's different, so for you, what is your intuition feel like? What does it sound like? How do you know? How do you recognize it?
yeah. So over the years, I've been meditating for like, I would say about 10, 15 years. So I
Mm,
consider myself to be a very spiritually evolved person. By no means I'm perfect. Nobody is. But I feel like for me, my biggest strength is that connection with my higher self. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of chaoticness, but I
yes.
as women, I feel that as women, we can be very intuitive. If we just take the time to listen to our inner self, right, instead of the noise outside. And I realized that a little bit more when I went through another tragic incident of,
Okay.
I had a very vulnerable story I'm about to share openly. Is I ended up having an unexpected hysterectomy.
Mm,
Hysterectomy is, for those of you who don't know, is your ability to being able to have kids. And it just came out of nowhere. I ended up being in the emergency room with a big cyst on my ovary,
oh my.
and just basically didn't even know what was going on. Next thing you know, I'm having a 6-hour surgery, and a lot of recovery, a lot of pain associated with that as well. And just again, losing that ability to have kids in an instant like that, that's also life altering.
There's a grief process because I had a hysterectomy in my 30s.
See, yes, so did I. So, and you're very young age, right? To have,
Yeah.
so again, to have to go through that and to process, and once again to ask yourself, well, why did this happen to me? Am I meant to be? Is my direction in life not to have kids, but also do something else? Like again, just going through that mental, because I love kids, right? But hey, yeah, of course I can adopt, but you know what I'm trying to say. But it's still a process to go through, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So going through all of those experiences have just really taught me to listen to myself. And then I feel that prayer is like you talking to the higher universe, but meditation is you listening. It's like you getting the messages.
Oh, I like
I get those messages, believe it or not. When you get very evolved and when you get in tune with your higher self, you will find the answers. You will get those answers in meditation. There's been many, many times something has happened or is about to happen, and I've gotten that message beforehand. There's been time, like even with this situation, when this devastating situation happened with my business, and I went into that quiet, and of course tears are flowing, and I am just quiet in my meditative state, and I heard like this is a blessing, something great's going to happen out of after this. You'll be very happy in a few months. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm not saying everybody can reach that level, but I feel that if you try and you practice and you're dedicated, we all have the ability to connect with our higher self, and I
yeah.
do. So for me, that's been my superpower. It's whenever I'm down or whenever I feel like I'm lost or I'm overwhelmed or I'm
Yeah.
stressed, I literally take the time to, and I'm not saying the first time I meditate it comes to me. No, there's
Right. It's a practice.
Oh, it
yes,
is
just
practice.
like
It's a skill, just like anything else.
just like going to the gym. It's not like the first day you're going to go, you're going to lose those 10 pounds, right? It's going to be
Dang
over,
it.
over a period of time.
I need that.
Right. Yeah. Let me know when you figure that one out.
No, that helps me a lot because that gives me inner strength. I don't need somebody else to tell me what to do. I can go in and get that validation or get that security or get the next line of action for myself. And that to me is priceless, to be honest, because we all have that ability.
yeah.
We just have to tap into it.
Yeah. Tap into it. And, it's a practice. I struggle with it myself, but I've gotten so much better.
Yeah.
I actually crave it,
Yes.
especially when I'm starting to feel that anxiety or um, just you know emotionally or mentally or spiritually having to go through a rough spot. It's like, okay, I know I can go here and feel safe and at peace.
Yeah.
um and I love what you said about prayer and meditation being a two-way conversation, where prayer is you speaking and meditation is where you listen. I have never heard that before, and I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I
It's
love that.
It's true because in prayer we're talking, but meditation is when you're actually quiet and then you hear.
Mm,
Yep.
I love that. Love that.
I think we get lost in the we'll ask and then forget to listen, or listen without asking first. So then it's just an open ended listen, and you're like, where did that even go? So, yeah, kind of honing in on the ask and then the listen. There's a process there. So,
Yeah.
and meditation is never perfect. It never is the same each day either. It definitely, you might feel different things each day. Some days I feel like being quiet, and other days I feel like, oh, this is a writing day, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Journaling, of course. I believe in that too. Of course.
Mhm.
You touched on, your the lawsuit with your dad, and that was pivotal, like for your life. Like that's where you decided, hey, I'm going to be an attorney and I'm going to help people so they don't have to suffer like we did.
Yep.
How old were you when that happened?
Yeah. How old was I? Or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in college. I
Okay.
was going to actually, I was a pre-med student. So I was going to go to med school. I was studying for med school. And I was going to take my entrance exam and basically go to med school. And that's when this happened with very unexpected. I come back from college and I see my dad looking at the complaint paperwork, legal paperwork, and just very devastated. And I just asked him, like, what happened? And he just gives me the papers, and I just look at them. I'm like, oh my God, we've been just sued. And so it was I mean, when you get sued, it's not just the person gets sued who suffers, like the whole family. It's like this big giant weight that has just come on your shoulders. And it was just a very expensive ordeal, like for the whole year, negotiating back and forth. Lawsuits can be just so dragging, and that alone is such a big turmoil, right? So
Yeah.
we went through that whole thing, and I was the middle person between my dad and the lawyer. So my dad just to help him out, I was the one kind of corresponding with his lawyers. I was the one going to his depositions and all of that kind of stuff with him, helping him through every process. And during this whole journey, I just realized that there's so many things. I mean, of course, we were grateful that dad could have done more. What I'm trying to say is that dad could have done more, mistakes.
Right. It could have been worse, kind of.
Worse, yes. And so there were other things we discovered that we could have fixed, if we didn't fix at that time. So this was, again, one of those learning experiences for us. My dad never put anything in writing. He was such an old school and that trusted his friend, hired him to help with his business. And then that friend turned around, betrayed him, and sued him. So there were, again, a lot of lessons to extract from this story. Number one, no matter if it's a friend, no matter if it's a family member, do not mix business and personal. Contracts protect both parties, right? Not just one person. So that, and then I just realized in that moment that I actually liked the law. I was working with his lawyers, and I felt like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Because there's so many people. My dad could have made more mistakes, but the lawyer, of course, advised him going forward that, hey, these are other things that you need to tighten in the business. These other policies you need to have. You need to have an employee handbook. You need to have this. So again, there were a lot of other things that were missing in his business. And just helping dad with all of that made me realize that, what, I want to be a business. So, I mean, I want to be a business owner, but I want to be a business lawyer first. And I want to help other people with, not making these mistakes.
Protecting themselves. Yeah.
So that's kind of like this whole journey started. And then I took the LSAT instead of the MCAT, and I went to law school instead of school, and rest is history.
So where were you in? Were you like halfway through? Were you through the bachelor's or still working on your?
Yes, I was already through the bachelor's. I had finished bachelor's, and I was just basically going to give my MCAT exam to medical exam. And instead I took the LSAT instead of the MCAT. I was like, let's just do the LSAT instead, and then ended up going to law school.
So it took you a little bit longer than it would have, because the first 4 years were focused on pre-med versus pre-law.
Yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't an easy decision. It wasn't like, oh, this will be a piece of cake. Again, another thing, it's like this change is going to mean more work.
Yeah. Well, and then that discernment, like, oh my God, you've gone all this far and you put in all this stuff. Does it make sense to even change in this very moment? Like that is a hard conversation. I know as a business owner, there's been days where I'm like, bloop it all up. And then you have that conversation where you're like, oh, really? Is this it? What do we really want to do that? Let's get back into the where are we at? Is this what it looks like? And then obviously pivots and changes are made during those times, because we see things one way in the beginning and clearly it's changing in the background for things. But man, that's a hard decision, because it's kind of like blowing up a business and saying, gone, buy something totally brand new way over here, which you could have done again when you had that issue before. So it's very interesting how you've had these big things like really come at you and completely just level the playing field and change it all up. And it's great because you hear small, subtle changes, but you don't hear major, big shifts in people's lives. Med to law is massive. And to think about that is just crazy. So yeah, I love that.
Well,
I'll even give you an example with my own business too, really quick. When I started the online business, it wasn't about legal templates or law or anything. I thought I was going to have a self-employment like blog, basically, like a blogging business, which was going to be teaching people how to find these different side hustles, because I've always had side hustles. I was a model at one point, then a teacher, then a lawyer, and then, so I've gotten my hands into different things over the years. And I thought I was going to show people different ways to make money and to be kind of have that supplemental income. And then I remember my very first month in a Facebook group, people found out like she's a lawyer. And so they just started asking me all kinds of legal questions, right? Well, questions like, if I have a website, what kind of legal pages I need? If I am working with this person, what kind of contract I need? It was, again, the universe directing me or giving signs that perhaps not that, but this is your expertise. So why don't you help people? So naturally, I couldn't turn those people. So I helped them. And that's when, again, the idea came that why don't I create templates? Why don't I make it automated? I can only help so many people one-on-one. And I still offer one-on-one services, but a big part of my businesses are also passive, where people could just download the templates, pay less, way less than hiring a lawyer, and still get that lawyer level protection. So again, that idea just happened. So a lot of times in my life that has happened to me. So I don't know. It's just, again, the universe, or just me taking the time to listen to those messages or signs. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's like, let's write a blog. That doesn't feel hard. That feels fairly easy. So it's kind of like this gateway drug into what you're really called to do. And it kind of eases you in. It's like an onboarding, right? It's onboarding into your calling. I like that. How do you feel? Where do you think the abundance mindset fits into everything you've been through?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I didn't always have an abundance mindset. I know growing up with our humble beginnings, there was definitely the influence from the parents, and there was a scarcity mindset, but I was always a rebel. And so
prerequisite rebel. Got it.
I always, like, my dad would always say, save, 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 save for the rainy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was always the one that I don't want to limit myself. There's plenty out there. So what if I spend this much? Well, I'll make this much more, right? So again, that abundant mindset, or that belief that there's always plenty more opportunities and possibilities in the world for us to not deprive ourselves. I've always been that kind of a person. So for me, it's like having an abundance mindset is like two things. Number one, always being grateful for what you have, how far you've come in life. Sometimes we forget to pat ourselves on the back for that. And then second is always believing in this universe and this energy or this resource that we all have. So not to say like, oh, this happened, so how am I going to do this? It's just, look, even with business, I'm going to tell you, there are highs and there's lows, right? I've been in business for over 6 years now, and does that mean every month it's the same income? No, but if I look at the scarcity mindset, I'll be like, oh my God, let me cut this, let me cut that, because I'm having it. But I choose not to do that. I'm like, it's okay. Next month, maybe it'll be double, right? Maybe
comparison kind of sneaks in there. Like, oh, last month wasn't as good as this month. Oh no, what's happening? Or I'm not doing as well as that person's doing. And that, that can limit your abundance mindset. Like the comparison game.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. And that's one thing I consider myself very lucky that maybe it's the Leo personality in me. I don't know. I've always been the kind of person like a lone wolf, right? Like I've always been the person, like I didn't compare. I'm not saying I don't work with people. I 100% work with people. I'm a very friendly, very people-oriented person. But what I'm saying is that I don't follow. I lead my own destiny. I follow my own self, right? So I don't compare myself to others or their successes or how long this
She's
person took
dancing
to
to
get
the
to
beat of her own drum. I
Yeah,
love it.
I love it. We don't seem to have that ability. I have two in my life, three. But yeah, you guys
Yeah.
definitely follow a different path, and it's all about what you guys do, and it gets you where you need to go. It's crazy to me because I watch it happen like, oh, like not even spiritual people, and it just seems to be like where they're just like, it's gonna do this and this and this and this, and then it just, and I'm like, what in the heck? You've got the best luck in the world. But it's just a complete confidence that comes from nowhere. Like it is amazing what you guys seem to have there. So I love that.
And I'm sitting
Well,
here wondering, like, okay, when was she born? What's her sign? What's her human design? Do you know any of that?
I don't know the human design, but I know the sign is
Oh,
Leo.
she's a
Yeah,
liar. She's a liar.
yeah, yeah. That's where the confidence
Yeah,
comes
for
in. Yeah,
sure.
and that's where the resilience comes in too.
Yeah.
What about you? Now I'm curious about you two.
Well, I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus, like moon and sun. So I'm a real
She's a
Taurus.
Taurus. I'm a Gemini. Yeah,
Oh,
lots of
okay.
duplicity,
Gemini,
multiplicity.
very sweet. Yes, my mom is a Gemini, so
Yeah.
yes,
We're
I
cool.
love
We're
Gemini
cool
people.
people,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
There was something, and I'm also ADD. So there was a question there, and it left. Oh, I remember now. So this morning I was meditating, and I actually meditated twice because I meditated the normal, like it was a guided meditation, and then afterward I was like, you know what? I feel like I need a little more. I need a little
Yeah.
more, and that's when it downloaded. That's when it came to me, and it was a beautiful, simple message that, and it sounds so biblical, but it reminded me of the scripture that, God won't give us more than we can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can't quote it anymore. Haven't looked at a Bible in years, but that's what that was the message. Don't you believe that I have already supplied everything you need to get through this?
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Where's your
It's
faith?
hard on blind faith to really believe in
Yeah.
that, but you do, and it's true because once you get there and you're like, okay, you've led me this way, or this is what's coming in. Now you told me don't ask how, so you're gonna provide how, right? Like, let's go.
Yes.
And really believing in that, like, because my brain comes into the how.
Oh my
Like, I'm the one
God.
that's like, okay, you said this, and now I've got to figure it all out for myself, right? Because I know all the answers, right? It's hard to let go of that feeling of,
Yeah.
and again, it's a control thing for sure.
Yes.
I've
So
been working on
we have these conversations all the time, Laura and I. It's like this lack of surrender or challenge to surrender,
Yeah.
and how you just how scary that can be for us. People don't get
Yeah.
it. Like, you don't get it. You don't understand. But if you keep drilling down, we have this awesome coach that we work with, and you keep drilling down, you realize you don't know anything. You don't know the future. Everything's freaking unknown.
Yeah.
It is.
So
100%.
choose be in constant fear or live in blind faith, because really that's what it boils down to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I just solved all the world problems.
All the
We're good to go.
Blind faith. Right.
So, well, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for spending a little time with us today. Where am I in the outline? There it is. Laura, do your thing. Are you, I'm not, she looks like she might be frozen. Okay. Are you there?
Oh, I'm in delay.
Yeah, she's lagging. She's lagging. So Monday is Mondaying. All right. So Amira has a beautiful gift for our listeners. It's a free legal guide. It's to teach you how to easily avoid getting sued by making your online business legal without having to hire an expensive lawyer. It's free. It's a free guide. So we're going to drop the link in the show notes for that. Anything else you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, after working as a lawyer for over 15 years now, trust me, I've seen all kinds of legal issues, lawsuits, talking about my dad's experience. We shared a little bit today, but also just even working with online entrepreneurs and me being a business owner myself. This is a legal guide that honestly is going to help you so much, especially it answers the common questions that I've been getting for years. And it's going to also tell you what are the things that you need to implement in your business, because I'm a firm believer of giving you actionable tips, giving you knowledge, but then also tips. So I do encourage that you download the guide so that you can learn what you need to have in your business to protect.
Yeah. And we'll also leave links for how to connect with Amira and see all the things that she's got going on in, which is obviously a lot. And then, so the next thing we like to do is have the current guest introduce the next guest. Our next guest next week is Elise. And Elise, if I botch it, I'm sorry if it's different, but it looks like an Elise Preston.
That's right. Yes. So would you like me to tell a little bit about
Absolutely.
her? Okay, so the next guest is Elise Preston. She knows what it feels like to get lost and burned out. After spending 5 years overgiving and losing her connection with herself while working with education and youth development, she set out on a journey to learn how to better take care of herself and her community. And this journey led her to pursue a yoga teaching certification, human design reading, and a master's degree in entrepreneurship, innovation, and leadership. So in her work as a founder of A More Connected, she helps ambitious and heart-centered change makers gravitate away from burnout and self-extraction and towards more sustainable, liberating ways of living and working.
That's going to be a good conversation. Laura is going to dig in on this one because I think they have some life parallelisms going on there. So thank you. Thank you. Great job. And our announcement, we do one announcement each week. It is that we are launching a membership. We're working on it. We have a wait list. Go to FTC podcast and click on community there, and you'll see the wait list for the membership. And those who get on the wait list can get, early access and all those good things. So, Amira, thank you again for being with us this week. It's been fantastic.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, we will see you next week, same time, 12 Eastern on Mondays. We're always live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and you can catch us on Spotify with the replay on the following day. So bye for now.